Well, it looks like Donald Trump has achieved more in 24 hours than what Kamala Harris and Sleepy Joe have achieved in the past 4 years together combined. Now, I have a little list here from Libs of TikTok, which is all of the executive orders that Donald Trump has already passed straight out of the gate. But before I get into that, I want to go over this one, which is about Donald Trump himself, which is Trump declares two-gender policy for the US. So let's zoom in so it's a bit easier to, not because my eyesight is completely non-existent. President Donald Trump has signed executive orders mandating that the US government recognises only two genders, male and female, effective immediately. The policy has led to a significant debate across social media platforms, with reactions ranging from support to concern over its implications for disgusting and even more disgusting individuals, let's just be honest here. And of course, this is kind of created the same thing back in November, like with the free Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3 series of Woke Lefty Meltdown compilation videos that I've made, where we've got people like that also having a breakdown, and non-binary joke. I'm so glad that this will be coming to an end soon, I really am, as well. And that's just one of the many things that it's done. But let's go back onto the list right here as well. I'll zoom in a little bit as well, so we don't have to do that in video editing. But yes, President Trump Executive Action Mega Thread. Here's a list of the EOs that Trump have signed executive orders. I am struggling to pronounce that word today. Now, I can't go into every single one in deep detail because I would be here for about 4 or 5 hours, so we're going to take it all at face value and scroll through them. Trump has signed an executive order to withdraw from the Paris Climate Treaty, which is absolutely fantastic to hear because I think everyone's getting absolutely beyond fed up with this. Even here in Scotland, we are getting affected by this climate change nonsense and having to do things so backwards to make the climate better, and the things that make the climate better are actually doing more damage than what was traditionally done to help the planet. Like planting more trees, but here in Scotland we have been removing more trees, destroying more farms to make way for solar farms that which we cannot afford and have been half built but not functioning, and so on and so forth. Again, trying to replace everything with electrical vehicles, even though no power grid on the planet can support 100% of energy being electric, which again is already unachievable as well. And also, if we look down to London Way, for example, with Sadiq Khan's fucking ULEZ plan, which is, oh, what, do you drive a vehicle that might pollute the planet a little bit more? Yeah, get fined every single day that you drive, or every single time throughout the day that you go through a ULEZ zone. Yeah, this is just absolute beyond nonsense. People are sick to death of it. And it's quite funny that every time that we found a way to fix the climate, that it involves taxing the poorest people on the country or just on the planet as a whole. Again, why are we bothering with this? China produces 71% of the Earth's pollution. Has anyone got the balls to tell China what to do? No. So again, even if the rest of the planet, the 29% of the polluters on this planet, get our act together, it's going to do nothing for the long run. Again, it's just complete scam at this point, and people are getting fed up with it, and it's just wasting the taxpayers' money in the billions, if not trillions at this point. Trump signed an executive order directing all federal employees to return to a full-time in-person work. And again, I didn't actually know about this, but we'll go into it a little bit more. So, on the first day of office, Trump, I've already read that part, a Senate investigation found that just 6% of federal workers show up to work in person. Not a single government agency is occupying even half of their office space. Again, wasting space, wasting money, if no one's utilising it, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. And again, we've got a little list here. I'll try and zoom out so I can fit it all on screen. So, top 10 emptiest government headquarters according to the Public Building Reform Board, and I'll try and just about squeeze this in view. If any of you want to pause and have a look at this, 2 seconds. Here we go as well, which is, again, having a very brief look at this. This is absolutely beyond disgusting. Again, all the taxes I have to pay, all the utility bills as well, like electricity, for example. Again, all the staff are getting paid for have this building open. 94% of them aren't even showing up anymore because they don't really have to. It's just, again, government's wasting money as per usual, especially in America, which again is not surprising. Bearing in mind that the American government was caught paying $90,000 plus for a $300 bag of nuts and bolts and screws. I'm just putting it out there. Again, Government and money doesn't seem to be the smartest outcome. I think we've all started to notice that one as well. Trump signed an executive order to end the weaponization of governments against political opponents. Again, we've seen it throughout so many places like Germany, the UK, France, Spain, America, blah blah blah, and so many other countries as well, and people are getting sick to death of it as well. So we'll have a little bit looking into this. Pam Bondi on the weaponization of the Department of Justice against parents, Catholics and patriots. Just going into that, I was going to make a video on this, but I just didn't have the time. I was very ill as well. But when the hurricanes hit Florida only a couple-ish months ago, it was actually revealed that anyone in Florida that was known to be a Donald Trump supporter did not receive support deliberately, and only the Kamala Harris or Joe Biden supporters actually received help during the hurricane. You don't hate the government enough, you really don't. Going after your religion, sending informants to Catholic churches must be stopped, will stop, must stop. Basically, anything that's seen as religious or patriotic or historical and being proud of what you and your people of that country's been was just completely illegal, and you were seen as a far-right, evil, racist, extremist, bigot, and so on and so forth. And again, look what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did to Donald Trump, trying everything in their power to throw him in jail. Didn't work because he didn't really do anything apart from being a little bit of a spicy boy, to say the most. And also the fact that those two assassination attempts, yeah, we kind of know at that point. We kind of know. Now, bearing in mind with this next bit, this does seem to be within the Biden-Harris administration, but it does say since Kamala took office, which is discussed in prices increase. So an executive order to address the cost of living crisis that skyrocketed under the Biden/Harris administration, and I'll click on the image right here as well. Gasoline up by 51%, electricity 32%, as this is the cost of course, airfare 23%, groceries 22%. I think that's just as an average whole for everything collectively, 20.2%, 3.9% down, which again is not great. Rent to 22%, eggs 47%. It's funny that everywhere seems to be going for farmers and trying to take their land. It's funny that. Car insurance 54%, and K-12 food, an exact 2/3 increase, 66%. People are getting absolutely beyond fed up with this. Not just in America, but even here in the UK and places like Canada and even Australia are beyond fed up with this as well. An Australian friend of mine's told me that for the average pack of cigarettes that him and his mate smoke, granted they do get a lot more money if we're not adjusting for differences in fiat currency, just a bigger number as a whole, but even at that, that's still beyond stupid. The average cost of a packet of cigarettes, which is a 20 pack of cigarettes in Australia, is somewhere between 60 to 70 Australian dollars. Again, it's absolutely beyond stupid, and I know I'm not promoting smoking or agreeing with it, even though I used to do it myself, but even here in the UK, my Rothmans blue cigarettes that I used to buy when I started smoking over 10 years ago, I stopped years ago, they were £5.99 for a 20 pack. They're now £15 plus for a 20 pack. So £5.99 for a 20 pack, or the exact same 20 pack, and it's only been 7 years-ish since this was passed. It's now tripled in price. And again, looking at bread, looking at eggs, looking at milk. Again, milk used to be about 40 pence for a pint. I don't know why we measure things in pints, we're just that British, but it's 90 pence to a pound for a pint of milk now. Again, the cost of living, no one can afford rent. My mate is earning quite a good middle class income every year. He can't afford rent, even for a crack den of an apartment. He cannot afford rent. And again, he drives a lot. His car insurance is skinning him, even though his car is very basic and safe, so on and so forth. And he's a very safe driver as a whole. Completely rinses them, so on and so forth. People can't afford to exist anymore. People can't afford to have kids anymore. People can't even have the luxury of having luxuries in their life anymore. People are fed up with it. Speaking of people who look like fucking eggs, or just eggs as a whole, Trump signed an executive order freezing federal hiring. Yeah, I'm quite glad that all of this is going away pretty soon as well. Again, hiring people for the sake of what's their political views rather than what's their actual skills and criteria, so on and so forth. Again, here in Scotland with our government, that's an extremely common thing. In fact, over a year ago, I made a video called Non-Binary Nonsense in Scotland because the Scottish Government opened a non-binary department to help those people throughout Scotland, and it was costing millions every year. Bearing in mind that Scotland is a very tiny, small country as a whole, millions is like billions in America. It's a lot of money as well. And again, the whole hiring process up and down the world, as well, the Western world at least as well, is it's not about your skills, it's about your political leanings. And yeah, I think these 4 images definitely paint a picture. At least I want that image off my screen. I'm just moving on. Look, I'm getting quite sick of saying Trump signed an executive order. Like, we all know what this is all about. I'm just going to skip to the end of each title of this list right here. So basically with this one, Donald Trump is undoing all of the damage that Biden has done, or at least a good chunk of it, by getting rid of some of the things that he's passed while he was in power. Well, I say that he was in power. There's people pulling the strings to make him do it, because let's be honest, I don't think Joe Biden has been mentally with us for quite some time at this point. So the amount of damage that man and even Kamala Harris have done has just been absolutely just horrific towards America, and even parts of it have affected other countries as well. And it looks like Donald Trump here is reversing a lot of the things that were passed and going, no you don't, because either A, it's done far more damage than good, or B, it's just done all the damage with zero good. Again, nobody can tolerate this for any longer, and it's good that this has been undone. And again, the fact that he signed about 78 well, basically reverse 78 things that Joe Biden has done, and as many, as you can see within this little video here, is a big pile of them that he's got to sign. I don't think that's 78 things that Biden's done. I don't think it's for each individual one. It'll be for all the things that he's passed as executive orders. But again, he's got a lot of work to do. And again, as a whole, I should have said this at the start, we'll have to see if he actually keeps his promise or not throughout the whole 4 years. But this looks like a very, very strong start. So again, a lot of positivity right out of the gate. Again, more than what Biden and Kamala Harris have done as well. Now, this one is just an absolute beyond piss take to say the very least, because the amount of lies around it. But again, ordering a pardoning nearly 1,500 January the 6th defendants as well. Oh, where do I even start with this one? Again, the amount of people who were making it out that this was an absolute horrific attack on democracy of America. They tried to take over America with violence, basically the whole First and Second Amendment, or mostly the Second Amendment, which was complete BS in every way, shape or form as well. Again, if you've actually saw the footage of Donald Trump on stage of January the 6th after he realised he wouldn't be the president anymore, he said, let's go over and have a peaceful protest outside of the Capitol. And of course, some people chose not to listen, which is not his fault, and they did storm the building. And if you're willing to get into the tinfoil hat side of things, I think Count Dankula made a video on this guy about a year or two ago, I think, don't quote me on that, talking about the fact that there was a very suspicious person within the Trump or the MAGA crowd as a whole, whatever way you want to word it, outside of the Capitol building, trying to wind everyone up and play to their emotions to get them all kind of riled up and angry so they would storm the Capitol. And after two or three, I think, days-ish, I think it was, because I don't think this was all in one day, if my memory serves me right. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. I think the actual Donald Trump supporting crowd finally called this guy out, who was being the loudest person in the crowd, and started accusing him of being a Fed, trying to get them to commit crimes so they could arrest them. And again, he darted from that scene so quickly. Again, if you want to get into the tinfoil hat side of things, there was that as well, but there was people who got 20+ year jail sentences or as little as rattling a fence. Again, sounds very modern day UK over here, but that was also happening in America as well. And again, the whole thing was just complete BS. So many people's lives got ruined because of something they didn't really do, or completely exacerbated the actual situation that overall happened. If I used the right word there, I think I did. But again, this whole thing was just a complete BS. If people chose not to listen to Trump and storm the building, that's not his fault. And yes, there were bad eggs throughout the whole crowd. There always is during these whole things. You've got to bear in mind, yes, people did storm out and people did do damage, but again, Donald Trump tried his best to convince people to do it peacefully by walking over there and protesting and fighting for your rights as an American outside the building. Again, if you've seen this speech that's not been filtered or edited, you know what I'm on about. Anyway, let's move on. So, basically designating the cartel as a foreign terrorist organisation, which is absolutely 100% true. The cartel smuggle in probably literal tons of fentanyl into America every single year. and it's killed hundreds of thousands of Americans since Joe Biden basically legalized all drug use up and down America, which, yes, other countries have done it, but they didn't just go, oh, let's legalize it, and it just magically fixed the problem and even fixed the drug habits that people had. There was a lot more steps in place to not only legalize it, but also to get people help and get them, a job and income, a much healthier mindset, hobbies, and just get their life back as a whole. He just went, yeah, legalize drugs. Look at Philly, look at Skid Row in Florida, look at New York, look at any liberal place in America. It's an absolute beyond third world dystopian hellhole now because of the drug epidemic as well. And again, it's the Mexican cartel who are smuggling it in via the borders of New Mexico as well. And if any of you have been keeping up to date with Mexico, the Mexican government do not control Mexico in any way, shape or form. And I don't mean in a tinfoil hat Illuminati way, technically it's the Mexican cartel, but shh, you didn't hear that from me. No, it's blatantly, out there as information. You can go research yourself. The Mexican cartel blatantly run Mexico now. They're the ones in charge now, but they're not even hiding it anymore. I think it was about 2 or 3 months ago that somebody became, I believe, a mayor within a local area in Mexico, and because he wouldn't bend the knee to the Mexican cartel and do their dirty work, his head was found separated from his body right outside his office 4 or 5 days of being elected into such power. And if any of you have seen the images of the Mexican cartel who have been fully trained and know what they're doing, not just rebels with these types of toys to play with, they seriously know what they're doing. They are being educated and again have been trained to be this lethal. They have fully weaponized and fully armored vehicles in the whole military warfare uniform with the best weapons, the best armor, the best gear, the best vehicles now as well. They are armed to the teeth, and Mexico's a lost country. It doesn't exist anymore. So again, I 100% agree with this as well. The Mexican cartel are just absolute beyond demonic evil and need to be eradicated from this planet. So if Donald Trump wants to storm into Mexico and take it back, I'm kind of all for it at this point. Again, think about all the torture, the death, the drugs, the enslavement, and Dragon Ball Z, which the Mexican cartel seem to be monstrous fans of to the point where it's a religion. Don't understand it, but hey ho. It needs to be stopped as a whole. So again, I would 100% agree with it. And speaking of, an executive order to secure the southern border. Again, if any of you have seen the Tyler Oliveira videos, who is a much more right-wing journalist, I know, haha, they don't exist, but there he is for sure as well. He's done plenty of videos of going down to the Mexican border and the gaps and the kind of decay of the Mexican border, where there's such gaps at the literal edges of each end. You can just climb up a very small rock and get over to the American side and you're now in America. It's really that simple. And it's not just the Mexicans as well, it's like the Venezuelans as well, and even Chinese nationalists are actually getting in somehow as well. Again, I know more about this stuff here in the UK. I'm not 100% sure about it. I'm not up to date as I am with the UK in terms of the American illegal immigrant invasion that they're getting as well. But again, I've seen the Tyler Oliveira videos. It's really bad as well. And he was interviewing people who literally 5 seconds into America after basically getting in through the border. And again, there's video footage of the actual border patrol just opening the little doors that are in the middle of that Great Wall in New Mexico, just letting them walk through, and they're getting free food, free water, literally free iPhones under Joe Biden's rule as well. Again, how many people have died because of illegals? Again, fentanyl or just outright murder. Again, the SA crime. Again, it's not much different from the UK. It really isn't. Again, people are fed up with it. So again, strengthening the border and even taking lethal force for anyone who somehow makes it across or through this new border. 100% all about that. 100%. So an executive order restoring a merit-based hiring system. On day one, Trump is expected to end all DEI programs across the federal government. I think I already covered this, I've kind of forgotten, not going to lie, but basically, you must be hired for your skills, not because of your political ideology. Whether you're the LGBT 4K, 60 FPS, BBQ, use code CHILDRUMOR for 10% off at checkout, or BLM, Jesus Christ almighty, and it's called climate wankerfist and so on and so forth. You must be hired because of the skills you've got, not because of your political ideology or where you like to stick your dick. That can no longer be tolerated, and again, it's great to see that going forward as well. Unfortunately, the UK is going to have that for a few more years, but hopefully one day, But an executive order granting TikTok an extension to sell an American buyer, sorry. We have this little statement right here, which I am not happy about. Statement from TikTok. In agreement with our service providers, TikTok is in the process of restoring service. We thank President Trump for providing the necessary clarity and assurance to our service providers that they will face no penalties in providing TikTok to over 170 million Americans and allowing over 7 million small businesses to thrive. It's a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship, which, again, 2 days ago my TikTok account got banned, not because of the whole American thing. Of course, I live in Scotland, doesn't affect me, but my TikTok got personally banned. In all fairness, I was going on to trans people's most recent videos where they were having a meltdown, and I was leaving a comment all the time saying, man up. But, and again, I've had comments that have been very mild, very pleasant, just asking questions, bang, removed. They're really not free speech in any way, shape or form, but maybe that will change going forward because, you know, the earth is healing, as people like to say after Donald Trump was announced as the next president. But yeah, don't know what they're on about. We will work with President Trump on a long-term solution that keeps TikTok in the United States. Hopefully it will go down the same path of X, if not stronger, where you really can say your mind and even say spicy words in the comment section, but I am not holding my breath in any way, shape or form. And also, I disagree with banning TikTok. I know it's cringe, I know it really is, but again, if people want to use it, sure, why not? Again, I know it's cringe, I know it's brain rot, but the fact that Joe Biden said it should be banned, or the American government at that time, okay, now I disagree with that for sure. Trump signed an executive order ordering the creation. I said I was going to stop saying that. The creation of the Department of Government Efficiency, aka DOGE, as well. Pretty much a part of the government is going to manage other parts of the government to make sure that it's cost effective and what they're paying for, they're actually getting their money's worth as well, which again, 100% agree with that as well. Understand it's a little tiny bit of an oxymoron, kind of spending probably millions upon millions each year on Doge to save them millions upon millions, but I find overall it will save money to make sure that everything's working, to make sure nobody's getting lazy, no one's spending money where they shouldn't be, and making sure that whatever money is invested into America is actually being invested and it's actually worth the return. Not just from a financial standpoint, but physically, mentally as well, depending on what we're talking about. So overall, I do 100% agree with this as a whole. Hopefully it will do some good within America as well. So an executive order declaring a national emergency for the border. I've already covered this as well because of the whole thing that I've mentioned, so I'm just moving on as well. And again, I do agree, it is an emergency. It is an illegal invasion, like there's ever a legal one, but again, the UK is a thing. So an executive order to hold former government officials accountable for unlawful disclosure of sensitive information. Does this include Millie, who gave sensitive information to China? Yeah, there's been a lot of this in the past 4 years, probably since the start of America, let's be quite honest as well. Again, I think everyone should be held accountable because it seems whenever a government official kind of screws up, even if it's something truly horrific, they lose their job, they lose their career, and they can retire with the millions to an island or the LA Hills or wherever they like to go. So the fact that these people might be on the same playing field as, let's say, me and you or any American citizen as a whole, again, maybe that'll put the fear into them and maybe that'll stop them from doing it if they're actually going to get jail time going forward for either selling secrets or just betraying people or backstabbing or just cheating the system one way or another. But again, we'll have to wait and see as well. Executive order to protect American women from the dangers of radical gender ideology. Let's be brutally honest, women are gullible as fuck. Well, the liberal women are just blatantly gullible as fuck. The ones who aren't are actually quite smart cookies, and I do appreciate the fact that there's still some traditional intelligent women out there as well. Again, hats off to you, you're doing a great job, keep doing what you're doing and being great mothers and great wives to your man and so on and so forth, and just being good women as a whole. Again, absolute respect to you. And that's the last time I'll be that cringe about women. But yeah, team forfeits after girls basketball player allegedly hurt in play with male who identified. Yeah, it's this whole thing as well. We've had this in the UK, we've had it throughout Europe, and we've had it in America where, you know, there's a boxing match, there's a snooker match, there's a swimming, 100 length or the 100 meter dash or something down that line where a woman's got to go up against a man who's now identifying as a woman who's went chemically or even surgically or even both to transition. And even with all of that kind of, let's be brutally honest, from a physical perspective, downgrades as well, they are still a man technically at the end of the day, and they're going to outplay them in every way, shape or form. Even here in the UK, within the darts championships, there was a trans woman, or I don't know which way it's around, basically a man who's now identifying as a woman, who was meant to go up against in the female darts championship, and she just pulled out. Because even within darts, a man will outperform a woman easily, very easily, and it's complete BS. Again, also find it funny that feminists who are meant to protect women at all costs, when it comes to trans who identify as women, they'll defend them but not defend actual women as well, and not try and fight to get these people out of their spaces. Again, I think everyone individually or collectively needs their space. Again, men need their man caves privately, and they need to go and hang out with men, and so on and so forth, with women doing women things as well, individually or collectively. And having these people in these sports and even in the changing rooms is just beyond disgusting. It needs to stop. Trump side, oh god, I was going to stop saying that. Order issuing a withdrawal from the World Health Organization. Yes, it's just the World Health Organization that's trying to feed you all this goy slop as well, telling you that all the healthy stuff is very, very bad and it shouldn't be allowed, and also if you go to the gym that you're a far-right extremist. Yeah, that was a genuine thing, by the way. I think some of you might remember that. If not, now you know. But yeah, the World Health Organization is in the same kind of field as Wikipedia, as it's been absolutely beyond infested with the cancer of the DEIs, or just the woke lefties as a whole. Again, Wikipedia is now financially collapsing. Good, deserves it. After they said on the Wikipedia page that it's not certain people in the UK who are doing the grooming, it's actually the far-right racists who are just wanting an excuse to be racist, which is beyond blatant. Again, they can both go to hell, in my opinion. An executive order ending the catch and release policy. No more letting terrorists into our country. Yeah, again, there should be a zero tolerance towards this. When people have that title above their head and are doing things that beyond evil, they should not be tolerated in any way, shape or form, and should be dealt with extreme prejudices. Should be dealt with in an extreme manner. There we go. I cannot speak today. I can't speak ever. I'm not good at making these videos. Maybe one day. Moving on. Pretend that didn't happen. Trump signed in I said I was going to stop saying that. An executive order restoring the remain in Mexico policy. Basically, stay in your own country, you absolute taco basher. But yeah, it's again, I 100% agree with this. If you're entering a country illegal, you should be deported instantly, and anyone who's deported should be forced to stay there. And if you cross the borders, in my opinion, lock and load and mad dump at that point, it is an invasion. It should be treated as such. Biden administration formally ends remain in Mexico policy after suspending it early this year. Again, this whole thing caused that woman to be deliberately setting fire in that New York sub, where the illegal immigrant who did that was already deported 2 years prior back to his home country and came back in a second time unchallenged, and then he did that to that woman on the New York sub who got engulfed in flames. Again, it's just absolute beyond demonic shit. Speaking of, rule allowing transgender troops to serve in the military, our tax dollars were also funding full gender transitions and service members as well. I'm going to say this and move on. Imagine going to war and you're all very strong masculine men in your army, or should I say the enemy's army, and your entire army consists of this up on screen. Even though the return might be not that profitable, but profitable at the end of the day, I know where my money's going in terms of who's going to win that war. We need the strongest masculine men of physical and mental capabilities to do what needs to be done to win these wars. War's hell, simple as, and unfortunately it's always inevitable, it's always going to happen, and there's always a war going on somewhere. I don't think planet Earth has had a true day of peace ever, and having people this mentally unstable and demasculizing themselves enter into your military. You know where I'm going with this, just absolutely not. Stop this mental health behaviour. Again, signed as an executive order revoking the security clearance of the 51 former intelligence officers who lied about the Hunter Biden laptop. Everything about Hunter Biden's been lied about. Again, I made a video about this a few months ago as well. Everything about him has been lied about. How the fact that he's a constant cokehead, the fact that he held guns up to Ukrainian women, as well while he was off his nut as well, all the other crimes as well. Again, the fact that Donald Trump allegedly took files from the White House, which was not allowed to do, but Joe Biden did that, and was just like, okay, that's fine, don't press any charges as well. And I'm more than sure, I mean, I know I'm going off topic a little bit, but didn't they find a dead body on Obama's property? Am I the only one that remembers that? I'm sure that was Obama. I'm sure it was as well. Anyway, moving on. An executive order calling for the remaining of the Gulf of Mexico to be called the Gulf of America. That's just funny. Yeah, sure, why not? And we're now at the end of it. Sorry, this has been quite a waffle. Sorry, I'm not David Attenborough. I've not got the voice of talking very slow and softly. I really don't. That was creepy. I'm never doing that again. I'm Scottish, I'm autistic, I have a large tongue and a small mouth. I am not gifted for these types of videos, however, that won't discourage me from making them. Yeah, there looks like there's already a lot of positive changes happening within the first 24 hours, and there'll be a lot more to come over the next 4 years. Although I do expect Donald Trump to drop the ball because it's inevitable, and he did that within his first president run as well. But if the overall changes completely and utterly outweigh some of the potential negatives that he might do, including Elon Musk, I would say that's an absolute win at the end of the day as well, as long as the negative isn't harming or potentially destroying lives. But overall, it's looking quite good, and again, it's absolutely fantastic here on the salty liberal left have absolute meltdowns, which again, I made part 1, 2 and 3 of as well, which is right here as well. So I'll wrap the video up there. Thank you very much for tuning in, it's greatly appreciated. If you want to go check out any of my other videos, yesterday I uploaded, I think yesterday, if I can get us uploaded without getting another claim by YouTube for having too spicy of a video, but if you want to go check out my other videos, Disney's Go Woke Go Broke about the Daredevil Born Again trailer, again, most of my videos are political, as well talking about the UK politics side. Again, here's my salty liberal tier meltdown meme compilations, part 1, part 2 and part 3, which is an hour long as well. Again, I've talked about American politics, European politics, about grooming gangs, about scandals, about lies, about the British Second Amendment that needs to happen, and so many other things as well. And again, the fact that the Muslims own the UK police and government at this point. If you want to go check out those other videos, please feel free to do so as well. If you want to go check out my other social medias, here it is at rant-A-holic over on X or Twitter or whatever you like to call it as well. And again, if you want to check out my Discord, there'll be a link in the description as well, along with my Twitter as well, where you get more right-wing based news updated literally every minute. We have UK news, European news, and USA news, and other news that just get spam updated. So you can keep yourself up to date with less biased and lied news by the lefties as well. But I'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much for tuning in, it's greatly appreciated. If you could like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, it would be awesome. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree with anything that I've said, or you think I've missed anything of key importance as well. All social media links in the pinned top comment. I love yous all, and as always, keep on rolling. Have a great day and a better week to follow. See yous!